Inspired, informing nations, supporting people in real, effective deliverance.
Hi, good day, and welcome to the DRM Inspired Talk Show. It's a ministry where we inform nations, support people in real, effective deliverance. I'm your host, Prophet Derek Mason. A few years ago, we would have done some testimonial workshop, and I know some of you would not have gotten time or chance to come and sit in one of our workshops where you can hear candidates share their real life story. So I'm giving you the opportunity today to listen and to view these stories and testimonial that may impact your life for the better. So stay tuned as we go into our candidates' testimonial and their deliverance session. And I trust that in some way it will be a blessing to assist you in your deliverance. God bless you.
We've been married 15 years now. This would have been Wednesday God actually. Courted for about 5 years before that.
So 20 years together.
Since 1999, 25th of October 1999. If you like, don't remember dates. Left and went and did a whole thing, but that's where we met. So I paid for to go in the taxi and that was it. So
Wait. Wait, so about a girl left? Who left?
So she left ACC to do her own thing, to pursue her other career, educational ambitions, you know.
And how you quoted as you paid for her?
Yeah, basically I paid her passage to go to Port of Spain from St. James, and that was it. Yeah.
How much is that? Yeah, wife, right?
Real GT, so it does sound like this.
That's a real good deed. That's a good seed. Somebody say it. Good seed. That's a good seed. So how long married did you all start realizing that issues were popping up that you would need deliverance?
8 years after.
About 8 years after. Now we don't have a video for Gale and Keith, which is why we are doing this a little bit like this. We don't have a video for them, but there's still so much that can be learned without actually getting into how their deliverance session went. Gale and Keith were experiencing issues in their marriage that we found to be quite typical of what a lot of couples go through. But because other couples don't seek the help or seek deliverance, sometimes they end up in divorce. So we wanted to address some of the issues that they went through so that we would be able to learn from it and be able to move forward from it. So one of the things that they had, one of their major complaints that came with is that there was an issue of time. There was an issue of time. Could you describe for me, now time is something a lot of couples, how many people married here? Is your spouse with you? How many with a spouse with them? Okay. So, you all know one of the issues that couples have, including ourselves, is actually trying to find time together. And I'm realizing more and more that I don't know if the enemy with this busy spirit, where everybody is busy, and that we don't get chances to function or do as we should. So could you explain to us, one of the issues was time. What was consuming your time? What was that time factor that you all had to deal with?
Both of us were studying at the time. He was actually working overtime.
I commenced a new job and stuff at that point in time, so yeah. Trying to prove myself, so you're working overtime and take things for granted that, like you home or it's home earlier than you are, we just studying to make an impression and that type of thing. And then additionally, as she said, we're both studying, so she would have been basically being the one who's being neglected, admittedly, honestly. So.
Now you said something interesting there is making an impression to prove something.
Yes.
And there's an interesting thing that we recognize with men is somebody asked a question, how come Father's Day is not acknowledged as much as Mother's Day? And I made this statement that I honestly believe because fathers do not know where to put their energy. They think that they are just providers. So what they do is they spend a lot of time outside the home working and not enough time in the home with the children. So who the children see all the time, they see their mothers. And that's why Mother's Day is such a huge deal, and they find Father's Day does not get the credit it's supposed to. So in case you talk about is men learning to balance their time so that they spend sufficient time working, yes, but they spend sufficient time in the home, getting to know your children. How many of us grew up with fathers that work and you hardly didn't see them much at all at home? Anybody? Yeah, they hardly see a father because they're busy working. So when it is that you, that time was an issue and time was, yeah, yours open. And that time was affecting your marriage, what were some of the consequences of that you were seeing with that time factor not coming in?
Gale is very outspoken, so naturally she would have let me know, right? And on more than one occasion, and if it wasn't verbally, you would see it by body language, so...
Or attitude.
Real attitude, so...
How you felt with Keith being out of the house all the time?
Not loved, because I find he was giving his time to other things that wasn't priority. I didn't feel as though I was put on a pedestal. If I say that good correctly. So, I started to find my attitude towards him was resentment, there was hostility, irritation. As you said, attitude, in different ways. Even though sometimes I would be, as you said, outspoken, there were times I would be quiet and show him attitude in terms of not replying, not answering him back.
I mean, there are things like I would get home and I'm not a limer by nature, so I thought by going home and being there when I can be, and sitting watching television at the house, I was there, so where want to be, you understand? My woman wanted to talk, you understand? And you have to be able to sit down and talk a little bit with the woman.
Wow, you hit that on the nail.
Fellas, just in case, while you're thinking about going down City Gate and lining to pay $4 a woman to go a man.
Together.
$4 in work. You see that? All you agree? You didn't get that? My wife didn't get that. If the man paid $4 and your wife, it's not the $4, you have to come more to keep the wife.
Oh, you think you just pay $4 and I only had to pay. I understand.
Look at me now. Good counsel, look at you.
But I like how we mentioned that sometimes people think that just being in the house means spending time, and it's not the same thing. Okay. Another one of the issues was one of them that cracked me up. They know when they came. They had a major issue was the different ways that they do things. So I will give an example. One of the irritation was that I think Keith would put the juice in the fridge with the mug handle to the back. And Gale would get upset, like, why would you put the handle to the back? If I need to take out the juice, I need to hold the whole thing.
That's war.
Toothpaste, I think you all had an issue with her. Gale, you could wipe the oil up your nose. It's okay. Oh shucks, I spill that oil in the gear. Another issue was toothpaste. And I sit down there and I'm like, and they talk about the toilet paper, which direction you put it in so it rolls either forward or What's that?
I said I was only one. So
that you put it in the wrong direction?
I OCD with that too. So
Now these may seem silly to some, like we are married, we don't really, once it had toilet paper, once it have toothpaste, once it had juice, we really couldn't be bothered with whole weight ham. I didn't know the right side of the roll supposed to go anyway. What, the wall side? It's supposed to roll? Oh, outside, oh. No, I wasn't half.
In my opinion, one day is toilet
Paper, I know, that's how we are. Once that toilet paper, like a roll away one, you know. But you know, these are serious issues, those for persons who grew up in the house where these things were very important. Being placed in a situation where it's not important, or maybe somebody with a different perspective can actually cause a lot of confusion. How far did you all think, how was the argument occurring because of this? Was it serious, was it regular?
I think it was just a bit of nitpicking because of other factors affecting it, really and truly. That was just things to pick on, but...
Or you think that there were deeper things and they just manifest itself with the nitpicking?
Yeah.
Wow, okay.
Because then now we overlook those things and go.
Yeah, like me, once that paper, you're good.
After you laugh at us and we kind of learn to
don't make it so. No, I'm trying to be serious. And like he puts the mom on the inside.
And then eventually wears in the
Okay,
same
well,
kind of it's like, okay, he wears late till the next morning sometimes now and he wash it up in the morning, but I wash it.
So in other words, we were talking about sometimes there are things that we make an issue that are not really issues. So like in my family house we grew up, we do not leave wares in the dishes at night. I let her go. Because if it's 12 o'clock in the morning, I want to sleep. And so we were conversing about, talking with them, we were talking about what are things that can actually be overlooked that we don't need to. So if the paper is rolled the other way, just take it out, flip it, if it's an issue for you. But don't make it an issue for somebody else. You can talk to them and say, no, I would appreciate if you put it on the other side to ask them, like for example, Derek, I would appreciate if you will put the lock on the outside when you're in the house. You always put it on the inside. And then I have to have bags and I have to wrap my hand around the gate to open the lock. Now, I mentioned it about 5 times. When I realized he does not remember, I just don't bother anymore and just wrap my hands around the pole and open the gate. You realize you do it, right? What is it?
Good strategy, Derek. Good strategy.
It's just that.
Okay.
That's why you keep a slim one.
Okay, so we deal with the issues and then we'll go to the deep-rooted spiritual part, right? Another issue was you all are both saved, but under different denominations and churches. Could you all give us some insight on that?
Sure. Well, I grew up Catholic. Gale is born again Pentecostal.
Full gospel.
Right, full gospel. So we on a Sunday morning, well, we used to. I would go to my Catholic church, and she would go to her Pentecostal church. They were within striking distance, but it would have been around the same time. So sometimes I would rotate and go to her church, but she had to come to mine, honestly speaking. But you know, but we were both worshiping the same God and everything, so it didn't really have that much of a impact on us, really and truly. At least we think so. That's it.
So most Catholics do have a particular way with the rosaries and the
right.
what did that had to be included in your prayer time, or how did you all work out the prayer time together?
No, we didn't use the rosary and stuff, even though that it existed, but we did not spend the prayer time together, which was very key. Actually, we learned that from you. That's one of the things we learned from you. That prayer time together was important. So we did not put that in practice at first, and that would have caused a lot of the issues that we would have had, right? So, but as far as different denominations go, no, I don't think anything caused.
Okay.
Gale would have voiced, of course, that she doesn't believe in certain things and whatever, and that's fine, you know, no problem with that.
And right now, I think I know you fellowship, because we all go to the same church now.
Yeah.
They more than us, because we are hardly there. they attend faith assembly now and they go together.
Yes. We go
And
together.
he's actually on the worship team in church. So he has really moved across now and they have overcome that. Now, limitations as well was a major issue. One of the things you had mentioned, Keith, is that you have been doing ACCA since
quite a while. So it is very tough, but we have to pray for this. This is something that I constantly pray for. This is a real setback in my life. I don't know how much people here have things they pursue in a while and can't achieve it, but this is my living thing that really nagging me right now.
How has the progress been though recently? Is it improved?
It is
Or is the same pace over the previous years?
No. We've not progressed and everything, you know. I have done a lot of progression since doing the deliverance and everything, I must say, you know. But you can't allow it to lapse. But from the time it lapse, this thing is just come back at you eventually. So
Procrastination is, yeah. What do you think is the root though of the limitation that may exist there? Is it an ancestral thing? Is it a mindset? What do you think is the root of it?
I think it's more of a mindset than anything else. Yes, to be true. You just have to really buckle up. It's not, you have to realize it's not up to you alone. It's not really fully up to you. You have to put it in His hands, in God's hands, and realize that He can make it work for you. I know you're doing everything yourself, of course, and say, well, I will put only book down and I'll still pass my exam. But you have to put in your effort, and once God sees that you're doing that, He will provide for you. He will give you that knowledge and substance to put on that piece of paper.
Rejection, we had mentioned the rejection a bit. I just wanted to just mention it a bit more. Because Gale mentioned feeling rejected by Keith, but you had also mentioned feeling rejected by Gale. Could you give us an idea of why, we understood her with the time, but why you felt rejected by her?
I think it's just a feedback, like how she said I wouldn't give her the time of day when I came home and stuff, that she would basically lock me up after a certain point in time. That's why I would feel a bit rejected, because even talking to her, you wouldn't get any kind of response or feedback that you think is warranted to yourself, you know. So in that way I would say I felt rejected. Things like that you come into a marriage expecting certain things done for you and everything.
Certain things done? I'm sorry, hold on. I'm sorry. You come into a marriage expecting what? Certain things to be done? Like what?
Food and
Oh, for you to give somebody to cook for you?
Yeah, sometimes
Not too bad.
Not every day.
That expectation is well managed.
Right,
Okay.
so but you know.
Once you manage it, and we expect fresh food every day.
Right, you know that kind of thing. So as a man as well, a sandwich.
We working.
A sandwich is fine, you know, but even
Oh,
that's another
sandwich.
way, you know. But, so those are the things I would.
And Gale, why was the sandwich a challenge? You were studying.
I was studying my time, probably retaliation.
Oh, sure.
So I can imagine that this would have broken up all the emotional attachment to each other and caused a wedge. And kind of creeping in, this affected the bedroom a lot, eh?
Yes,
I was studying there.
Yes, it is, yeah.
One of the things, Gale, I'll talk about Gale and then Keith, was that you mentioned when you came for deliverance that you get a lot of attacks by spouse demons. Can you give us an idea of what was happening?
At the time, Keith and I were drifting apart, and I started to feel attracted to another person because I wasn't getting the attention that I needed from Keith. He wasn't meeting my needs in terms of emotionally, sexually. So this particular person, I started to talk to the person, but I was getting the time, the attention, and I started to feel attracted to the person, as I said. And then I would get these dreams in the night. Initially, the dream wasn't sexual or anything, but it's just that I felt like what was missing, the void in my life at the time. It's like I would dream like myself and the other person spending time, and then when I get up in the morning, it would feel like real. And then like when I see the person, I would feel like attached to the person, you know. But in terms of and then eventually I started to get like the attacks being sexual. Again, when I get up in the morning, I'll feel like it would feel like very real. I'll feel violated because it's very sexual, and basically that's how the attack used to happen. Yeah, but in the dream, yeah, basically that's how the spouse spirit operates. You know.
So for those who don't know, a spouse demon is a spirit that claims an individual as their own. They operate by putting a wedge between husband and wife if you are married. Persons who may have soul ties with persons in their past or anything like that, you will get dreams of meeting them, spending time with them. Sometimes it becomes sexual and it will progress. Some people, it's beyond dreams. Some people actually feel like something is having sex with them. Some people wake up with marks on their skin, all kind of different things. If it didn't happen to you, I'm sure you'll have heard persons who this has happened to, yeah? You're with me? And so they actually claim you as their spouse. So they do not want husband and wife relationship because that's covenant before God and they see it as a challenge. So one of the things they do is that they cause conflicts in marriage. They cause confusion, they cause hearts to grow towards somebody else because you start dreaming somebody else. The dreams feel real, as if it actually happened. So when you see the person, you feel like there's a bond with them. Yeah?
Actually, the dreams are real. Just for some clarification here, right? So that we will follow along. Your dream life is the real life, right? Understand this. We live in two realms, the natural realm and the spiritual realm. God took our spirit, put it in our body, so we are capable of communicating in spirit, right? Those that worship God must worship in spirit and in truth. With our spirit we serve God. With this body here we communicate on earth in this realm with one another. We move physical stuff. You know, in order to kill, you need a body. To fornicate, you need a body. To lie, you need a tongue, right? You need a physical body. But when you actually go to sleep, when this body go to rest, your spirit man is actually in the spiritual realm. So dreams encounter that persons have are actually with demonic spirits or the divine realm as God they do encounter also. Right? So this is why a dream should not just be played off. Right? This is why sometimes persons have visitations and you will actually see marks about your body. How did it get there? You understand? So the dream realm is not just some fictional imagination, some thing just happen by the way. These are real encounters, and what we are showing is the build-up of how the enemy started working in an unseen way by simple arguments, causing wedges, building up. Then he decided to pay a visitation. You can't miss his visitation, right? So that's, as we go along the way, I will be making these little comments so you wouldn't miss it. So it's not just like you're hearing their story. They know their story, they know their encounter, but it's for you to see what we are saying, right? He came in easy. He started causing disturbances. Put the toilet paper so. Do this so.
Look how much time I talk to him. How much time you talk to him. You don't appreciate how you like things.
Then the rejection started coming in.
The retaliation.
And from the time you get that wedge, the guy come up and you show up in a dream. Start getting feelings towards someone else. Attraction. And that's the way they operate. Right? Let's move.
But you just to track a bit. From since you were young, you have mentioned that you were attacked by demons. How that worked and when did it stop and start back?
probably at the age of 18, I started to get attacks. Initially, I would feel paralyzed in my sleep, unable to breathe. I would try to fight off this heavy thing on my body, and then eventually I would call upon the name of the Lord, and that's when I would flee. But basically, the root cause, I believe, would have been while growing up, I had a really bad, low self-esteem. It led to depression and these things, and feeling rejected. I felt like a black sheep in my family, and that would have led to open doors in terms of the demon attack me from about age 18 and stuff, around there.
Okay, so we picked up the retaliation, the rejection with time, the attraction. Keith, there was also some things that you continued on from before you were married that you brought into the marriage. And one of it was the pornography and the masturbation.
Yeah, pornography and masturbation, that is some serious thing. Now, that is one of the things I would have raised in the first deliverance session with Rachel and them, because they were trying to find out it very, very detailed as to what they're trying to find out what exactly is causing the wedge and what is affecting us. So that I thought would have been the major thing, as in I would have started watching pornography when I was about 12 years old. I mean, you and your partner.
Somebody said I encourage you for school education and to watch pornography to know yourself or some foolishness.
No. So 12 years old, you're watching some with your partner sneaking away to what stuff. So even though I didn't think of it as a big thing, it's then after I realized I expect my wife to do the same things you see them do in the films, and no way in hell you're really putting your wife through a lot of stress thinking that, you're fooling yourself. And you're essentially getting somebody else into your marriage by doing that. So it's only through a matter of time and process that I learned this, but I carried it into the marriage and it really affected it,
So there are some couples that actually use pornography as a form of foreplay in their marriage. And because they're married, they think that, bed on the fire, you can do what you want. And we have heard of couples and wives complaining that their husband watch pornography and expect them to do what they see. But remember, these are strangers who don't know each other and they're making a show. It's not love, as God ordained sex to be between two couples. Now, all these things led up to unfaithfulness that had happened. I kind of hesitated because I didn't get back Gale's text about if it was okay to talk about. I do ask people, are there any off topics? I send all the lists. Are there any off topics? Because we don't know whether you discuss anything they're not willing to. I didn't get back your text, so I'm willing. Okay, good. All right. So there was an instance of unfaithfulness in the marriage. All of these things led to unfaithfulness. Could you tell us exactly what happened and how you guys overcame that?
Well, through a rough time that we're already having, I got the attention I needed at my offices. And circumstances provided that, that I got the attention, I was complimented, and I feel nice.
She makes sandwich and think for you and you like food. Sorry, it's after that I'm not disrespectful.
So I like myself, but let's just say it was a feel-up, love-up session, no full thing, but at the same time I was unfaithful to my life. And it's only when I was able to admit this and bring this up at probably the second deliverance session is when I was able to really release and say, alright, get the true deliverance that I needed. But don't keep it bottled up and don't keep it inside and be ashamed and all this kind of thing. You have to get over it to really get the deliverance that you need and you deserve eventually.
So when you heard this happen to you, where did that take you? How were you when you heard that?
From a very talkative person, I got very quiet. I told him I'll get back to him in 2 days.
Oh shucks, you like it.
I could have reacted differently. but I remember what you all said. So I had 2 entire days to ponder on it, and I prayed about it, and I said, if I want my marriage to succeed, I forgave him, and I moved on. But in between, when there are arguments, I'll bring it up
She
again.
reminded me of it, that she forgave me. So,
Yeah, so
You understand why we talk about forgiveness, right? That's bringing it back. Yeah.
and then a couple of times thereafter, we would come to deliverance sessions or even with collaboration on phone. She would say, you have to stop bringing it up. You have to totally forgive him. There are times, like within recent times, like a normal couple, we'll have disagreements. And then my mind would go back to it again, but then again I'll hear Rachel's voice in my head. Don't bring it up. So you have to be strong enough and talk to yourself and actually don't bring it up. So forgiveness is very important.
I laughed. There was a couple. They've been married for 40-something years. The one insists he cheating for 40 of the years, for sure. I said, what is your evidence? He said, when he with me, he don't talk, but when he with she, he real talkative. Miss, that is not evidence. That is just how he might be just like to talk to her. But I come up the road 7 o'clock and she was by the corner. And I noticed past that same time. So it's he she was waiting for. Ma'am, that is not evidence. I say she actually had no proof. And she harassed him all the time that he was cheating. The man said, I didn't cheat. I don't know why she keep talking about it, I didn't cheat. If he come home 10 minutes, she said because he diverted so he could pass where she is. So she said a taxi just take 10 minutes. And he take 20 minutes to come home. And knows she went back. No, miss, that is not evidence. I can't take it to court. So I'm telling her it's 40 years. You still have no evidence. Can I advise you to just let the whole thing go? If it's still in a marriage, you have to let it go. It's either, if you can't let go, leave. But if you're staying, let it go. She says, so I can't bring it up once in a while. Serious. Why would you want to bring it up? And she smiled, I can't bring it up once in a while. No, why are you tormenting the man? You're tormenting you mash up your whole marriage for 40 years, you're not happy because you're insisting on this affair. The daughter know, but she said, girl, since I born, I hear about this affair. Since I born. And she said the truth is, we never saw anything. We never see him alone with the woman, nobody never see him in no compromising position or nothing. But she insisted that the man cheating. That everybody believed the man cheated. And here we go do. After that tell she know, so I just leave it. So if you stay and forgive and let it go, you cannot stay and bring it up. Okay? That is something to drill because what you do is you keep refreshing. You want to go forward, but you keep pulling the marriage back in the past. I like the fact that she stood to pray, because sometimes we make decisions out of emotions. And we say things that cannot be taken back in our marriages, and that is something that we have to make sure we don't do. But Keith, that infidelity though, you had talked about your father. That is something that was in your family. Could you?
Oh yeah. Daddy, growing up, actually knew that Daddy was a star boy. So, my God, I mean, I could...
You can tell the generation, I know.
Yeah.
The way you say star boy, that's long time. I can pick up a generation, it's okay, I understand the lingo.
Ah, yeah, he was a player.
When they say, well, I'm a player. Okay, he was a player, where?
Yeah, and growing up, I could say about 3 outside women, so to speak, women. I know my dad would have had. And my mother knew that also, and she stuck it out until my sister and I were the consenting age of 18 years old, and then she said enough is enough, and divorced at that point in time.
Wow, so
yeah.
She was just waiting.
Yeah, she stuck it out just for our safe kind of thing.
Do you think that influenced your thoughts a bit? How did that pattern the way you thought about your own marriage.
Right. Now, ironically, I said to myself, I would never put my wife through something like that. If I see what my mother went through with my father, and that stupid thing messed me up. You know, so.
It's so easy to fall vulnerable to sin, and that's why the Bible says you really can't judge anybody lest you fall also into temptation. There's one more issue that we'll mention before we move on to the next candidate. Now this is something I want you to be careful of not to reveal too much details, because some things are very personal that should actually stay between a husband and wife. It's a heavy issue that a lot of couples, I mentioned Derek and I are married 10 years without children. So what is the biggest challenge what has that brought to your marriage? What challenges have you faced because of it?
Me personally, depression, because when Tanti from Red Hill comes every month, I would cry, because you want to see a missed period. And then two, the other thing,
I don't know who that Tanti from the Red Hill. I think there's some aunt coming to her and share about it. I don't know who Tanti was. Okay, go ahead. Again, no. She told you know what Tanti from the Red Hill. I don't know who Tanti from the Red Hill is. I'm sorry. Go ahead. No, seriously.
Another thing too is that initially in marriage, we didn't really want kids because we wanted to enjoy each other. But yet after, people became curious and they started to say, "You're not having children. What happened? What's wrong? You're going to check yourself out." That was a constant question we got all the time and irritated myself and Pete. So that's a challenge by itself. And then Rachel, again, we had a one-on-one talk and she said, just learn to manage your expectation, because month after month I will be crying. And then this became an idol, because in the sense that an idol is not only something physical, but anything that takes away time from God, right? Spending time. And I realized I was really consumed. Every time, you have to time your ovulation, it's pressure on heat, because that in itself became an issue as well. But in listening to Rachel, up to this time, I would keep on praying, keeping the faith, and putting it into God's hand. And it's not a battle for me alone to fight, but for God to help us with it. So I'm keeping the faith.
What about you, Keith? How has it, in your mind, how have you been getting through?
Well, imagine this. My closest brother-in-law has a daughter, which is Gale's niece. When you go by Gale's family, they would tell him, you have no ink in your pen, boy. You can't make a boy now, you know what I'm going to make a boy? They don't directly tell me anything, but they tell him something like that. He has his boy now, mind you, but after some year. But it goes to show that where the mindset is and what they want. I mean, they want the best from you and they want to see children from us and everything, but they have to be a little more mindful as to what they say.
Has it drawn you all closer together, or do you think at any time it was a wedge?
At one point, I believe it was a wedge, because during ovulation, people feel pressured and unwilling to do anything.
I thought you would have been happy for when it's ovulation.
Trust me.
But I think in the latter part, it has brought us closer, because we realized the pressure we were placing on each other. So we just a matter of praying more, letting him go and let God do his thing. Because I believe his timing is perfect, because I have seen, not only with this, but other things I would pray for. Some of the prayers would get answered, and some wouldn't get answered on a timely basis. And meaning in my timing, yes. But then again, when I do get a blessing, I realize why God has done it at that time, So, yes, it has brought us closer.
No, it would be unfair for us to ask questions concerning that and then keep our mask on. So I'm taking off the mask. Derek, you can keep yours. Is it better? Infertility is something that is very touchy. Our biggest challenge is that it has drawn us much, much closer because it's a battle we are fighting together. At the end of it, we know God called us together. So it had no matter of leaving and going with somebody else or nothing like that. And you know, one of the statements we always make is that I don't care if we have or not, you are the one that I want as my wife. And I would say the same thing to him, that no matter what, you are who I want as a husband.
I plan to leave and with somebody else, but he ain't rich yet.
Like Jesus. So what Jesus people? Some people freeze there though. Jesus. So it has brought us a lot. We have prayed together, seeking the Lord, everything else. But it has really concreted. One of the things that really helps us a lot is when a minister came, a friend of ours, and he was like, my question to you is, God wants to know, if this does not happen, would you still serve him? Because sometimes when you don't have it, it becomes an obsession. Like people don't have money, they're obsessed about working. People don't have a house, they're obsessed about the house. People don't have this, they're obsessed about it. And he was like, God says, if you do not have this, will you still serve me? I bawled like a baby. I went down and I cried and I said, God, yes, I will. Because we had made it an idol. It became an idol. It became everything you focus on, everything you pray about, everything you find, your focus, things and all that. It became an idol. And we had to take it down.
Yeah, how I see things, you know, if you're a farmer and they say a livestock farmer, you don't have any cows, you have pigs, right? What happened?
They know it, Derek. I just want to know what it's going to go. I want to laugh, so go ahead.
Right? And you want milk.
Right.
And you come and you get a cow. That means you stand a chance of having milk. You understand? I have a wife.
Say stand a chance.
Stand a chance of
having milk.
You see, you have to do it the right way. Right? And it doesn't make sense you out of frustration, you break up your marriage just to accomplish.
I've heard of couples where one left another because of it. Yeah.
It doesn't make sense at all. If you have a wheel, you stand a chance and get the next one to make up a car. You have to look at the opportunities you have. You understand?
Am I the pig or the cow? The cow. I'm trying to remember the analogy. I'm the cow, right? Our biggest challenge, however, is still remains people. People. The first thing, who the problem with? People making snide comments, throwing words. They make Mother's Day was a challenge. I detest Mother's Day and Father's Day at a point in time. Quite recent, I will lie. I'm like, take me somewhere, let me get away from this thing, you know. Sometimes you have good days, but sometimes you have really low days. It had a time, if I saw a baby, I used to get upset. It was that bad. And I told God, take that from me. I want to love to see babies. I love to see children and be happy when I see them and not, So it is a challenge, and there are a lot of couples that battle with it. I can tell you, people don't mind if you mention it, but don't be insensitive. So be like, you try beetroot, you try this, what about now? You do this, you do that. You check yourself out, you went by the doctor. I'm like, oh my God. Oh God, sometimes my family can't say nothing. Oh, okay, thank you. Yes, okay. But you know, it's something that sometimes we said is very personal to couples. We tell them certain things keep. It's not for everybody, because not everybody could be mature enough with certain information, you know. But it is a challenge, and I'm very glad that you all remain together. It has fortified you instead of pulling you apart. Is there anything that you all want to add, or any messages you want to tell persons? When they came full, can I ask you, how impacting has deliverance been on your marriage? Being able to recognize and being set free, what has it really done for your marriage?
It has a 360-degree turnaround, because we were on the verge of considering divorce. Rachel and Derek and the team, they really sit down with you, go down, they explain everything to you, open doors, close doors. It's like almost like they were reading our lives, everything that was happening, you know. And because they sensitized us, one important thing too as well is to keep your deliverance.
Yes.
And whatever knowledge that was imparted to us, we applied it to our daily lives. We made a commitment to make the change, and because of that commitment, we have seen a 360 turnaround, right? Because initially, prior to knowing about Derek, I always listened to 98.1. And when I realized what was happening to the spouse spirit and the dreams and stuff, I realized something was happening. I was just feeling unnatural. And I prayed about it.
Ask about that. How do you deal with the spouse demons? Yeah.
Well, talking to you all as well, you have told me to try and be aware of it in the dream.
In the dream. Be aware of it in the dream and rebuke it in your dream.
Yeah, in the dream. It takes a lot of practice. You have to try and be aware of it in the dream, and your circumstances and stuff in the dream, and you have to try to rebuke it there. And
just to interject, some persons think a dream is just a dream. A dream is also spiritual warfare. So sometimes you when they engage, because initiation is in the dreams, once they start, you fight in it, the dream one time. Now there's some persons who are quite safe, like my lovely husband, who will tell you, rebuke in Jesus' name. I remember the time I dreamed a spouse spirit. And I'm dreaming this person, I'm in this house and he's cooking with me. And then I walk back. I say, wait now, you are spouse demon? And the person in the dream walk back. I say, real fast to come in my dream. And I fly on the man and I start coughing him up. Me forget Jesus, I rebuke in the name of Jesus. I was fighting, like I going mad. So you can't have awareness in your dreams to recognize when the enemy is trying to infiltrate.
So as you say, this whole situation was just feeling unnatural. And then one more, I just heard Derek talking about this, and again, it was almost like if he was reading my story. So I want to say thank God again for the DRM ministries and for answering my prayer, because today, Pete and I, we are still together.
Inspired, informing nations, supporting people in real, effective deliverance.